June was a pretty spectacular reading month, so I have high hopes for July. Hey book besties, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my June reading wrap up and covering my July hopefuls. So first up, let's go over what I read in June. I ended up reading 13 books, which is the best month I've had so far this year. And wow, it was honestly such a great reading month. I did more mood reading in June, which was my plan, and it really ended up working out. I feel like I really enjoyed what I was reading, and I felt like I had more freedom to pick up books that I was wanting to read, like mood reading, which I'm such a mood reader, so it felt very freeing. The book I ended the month with was Flawless. Let me tell you, the hype is so real on this one. I was so excited to finally get to dive into this series, and I loved this book. I liked it so much. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Next up, I read The Best of Friends. This is my 3rd Lucinda Berry book, and it was so good. I devoured this, 4 stars. Next, I read Great Big Beautiful Life. This was my first Emily Henry book, and I'll be honest, I was pretty disappointed. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. It felt like it was really lacking. The romance aspect was lacking. I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere. The story is sort of similar to the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, where the main character is interviewing a woman who comes from money. She wasn't in Hollywood like in Evelyn Hugo, but her family was very wealthy. She was a socialite, and then she disappeared and nobody really heard from her for a while. So this woman is interviewing her for a book. It wasn't until 70% through this book that we got to something interesting with that story. That is too long. And I'll be honest, once we got there, that was pretty interesting. I would have wanted so much more of that. So I feel like the idea was good. The execution wasn't that great. I'm not letting this derail me from Emily Henry books. I have another one on my shelf that I can't wait to read, and I would absolutely give her another chance. I read a little novella with some of my friends. It was called Rain. It was okay. I gave it 3 stars. It felt like it was very short and there wasn't a whole lot to it. Yeah, honestly, not much to say, to be honest. I read Whispers of the Lake. I read this as an ARC, but it did release late last month. And let me tell you, this was my first Shanora Williams book. I had such high hopes for her writing, and she delivered. This book was so good. I gave it 4 stars. Such good mystery, suspense. The writing was so great. I enjoyed how the characters developed. It was so good. This was a thriller that followed a woman who was recently separated from her husband after she found her best friend and her husband together. Well, the best friend has gone missing, and even though they haven't been talking for a while, this woman goes in search for her at this lake house, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her. It was a great summary thriller too. I loved it. Backtracking a little bit, I read A False Start, which is the 4th book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. I'm reading with a bunch of friends. We're going through our Elsie Silver journey, so we read the Gold Rush Ranch series, and then we're starting Chestnut Springs. So I had to double up because I was supposed to read this one last month and I didn't get to it. I didn't really care for this one. Honestly, it was my least favorite of this series. I gave it 3 stars. I finally started the Bourbon Boys series, so I read Bourbon and Lies. This was such a hyped up book, and let me tell you, it delivered. I loved this story so much. I love this little town and this little world and community that the writer built. The vibes were so there. I gave this book 5 stars, and I am so excited to continue with the series. I randomly wanted a thriller, so I picked up Bitter House, and this one was okay. It was a quick read. I went through it pretty fast, but not much happened. I don't know. It was about this woman who inherited a house from her aunt, I believe her aunt, somebody who kind of raised her after her parents passed away. And there's some mystery to this house, and you go through that journey with her. It didn't really give me a whole lot, I felt. I ended up only giving this one 3 stars. I listened to 2 books this month. I listened to Say You'll Remember Me. This was my first Abby Jimenez book, and that did not disappoint. Oh my gosh. This book was so good. I loved the audio. The narration was so great. It was duet narration. This was the first time I listened to a duet narration book, and I loved it. The relationship this couple had was so incredible, but also you got to see a lot about these two people as individuals, which I really enjoyed. I loved seeing their characters grow, see what they were going through. It was so incredible. I gave it 5 stars, and I can't wait to read more Abby Jimenez. And the other book I listened to was The Atonement. This is the 3rd book in the Amendment series, and honestly, I gave this one 3 stars, I think, or 2.5. I probably gave it 3. It just, I'll be honest. The first book, so good. 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. It was so twisty, so incredible. I don't think the other 2 books were needed. And I honestly think that you can just read the first book, enjoy that, and then move on. You really don't need to read the other 2. I liked how the 3rd one ended. It sort of wrapped up the story, I guess, but I don't think we really needed 2 other books to get there. I don't know. Last, listen, I saved the best for last because even though it's 3 books, I'm counting it in a way as one read because, well, okay, it's 3 books, but I'm counting it together as my favorite book of the month. I read the Grady Lake series, which has been on my TBR for a very long time, and I devoured this thriller series. Oh my God. 5 stars all the way. Like I said, this is my favorite read of the month. And the thing is, like, this isn't like, this story was all connected. So I feel like I can't really break it up as a read because it goes together. It just does. And it was so good. It follows this woman who lives in a small, like, tourist town in Michigan on a lake, and you're following her I'll start from the beginning, obviously. I don't want to give anything away in the other 2 books, but in the first book, she's moved back home, and she's also gone through something in her life where her sister went missing 20 years prior. And so there's some, like, things now happening in this town that are reminding her of what happened to her sister. And you're following her and her family on this journey. Throughout the whole series, you're following this whole family throughout some really weird things that are happening in their small town. The characters in this book were so freaking good. I was so sad when it ended because I just loved being in this little world. If you have not read this series, I highly recommend it. The books are very short, like 210 pages each, so you can just fly through this. I did back to back to back. I had to. I could not get enough. Oh, it was just so incredible. So obviously, that was my favorite read of the month. Now, let's head into the books I hope to read in July. So similar to what I did last month, I want to do a lot of mood reading, so I don't have too many books planned. Pretty much everything I have planned is buddy reads. So let's get into it. First up, I have 7 Summers. This will be my 2nd page Toon book. I'm so excited. My local book club is reading Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Unalivers. I'm so excited. This is like a cozy fantasy. I've started it. I've only gotten like, I think a chapter through, but yeah, I can't wait to see what it's all about. I'm finally getting to Hidden Pictures. I'm reading this with one of my friends. This has been on my TBR for a while. Everybody was hyping this up in October last month, and I didn't get to it. So I'm really excited to read it now. One book I have started is All the Little Raindrops. I'm probably about chapter 5, I think. It's dark. I've heard some like iffy things about it, but we'll see. So I'm gonna see what it's all about, see how I can get through it. This is my first Mia Sheridan book. I'm also continuing Chestnut Springs. I'm reading Heartless, which I'm excited for because everybody says that this is their favorite, so we'll see how I feel. From what I already know about Cade from the first book, I think I'm gonna like this. One book that I started last month that I'll be finishing this month is The Honey Witch. This is like a really cozy book, and I feel like I want to savor it because it's a little bit slower paced. It's definitely got that cozy feel to it, and it just feels like something I want to savor. So I wanted to get it in and finish it up in June, but also I kind of just want to enjoy it. So I'm about 45% through, so I'll be finishing that this month, and I'm really liking it so far. And then I want to do a little bit of a Christmas in July. So I have a few Christmas books I want to read. I'm going to read Santa's Coming, which is the first book in the High Five novella series. I haven't read this one yet, but I've read 3 of the others. So I'm excited to check this out. And I have Holly Jolly July. I actually got this book in PR last month. This released last month. And it's basically like a Hallmark story where if you like are familiar with the Hallmark world, they film Christmas movies like in advance, of course, and usually like in the summertime, which is kind of funny, but that's what's happening in this book. These 2 women are filming on a movie set. One is an actress, the other is a makeup artist. So they're filming a Christmas movie in July. It sounds so fun and cute. I love Hallmark movies, so I think I'm gonna eat this up. So that's 7 books that I have planned to finish this month. Well, I guess 8 because I have Honey Witch too, but 8 books. I'm excited to see which other ones I end up picking up. I can't wait. Lots of exciting things. I definitely need to add in some beach reads. I've got like quite a few like thrillers on here, so I think I'm pretty well covered in the thriller department. I'll definitely need at least 1 or 2 more, but I'm excited to see how I feel about my reads for this month. In the comments, let me know what your favorite read was from June and what you're most excited to read in July. Thanks for watching, besties. I'll see you next time.